My name is Mark Belash. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca. I want to thank you for being here at the Canadian Virtual Financial Advisors Conference. I want to introduce our next speaker, Lorne Yuffe, Division Director at IG Wealth Management. So Lorne joined IG Wealth in Winnipeg in 2003 after graduating from the University of Manitoba. He then joined the Toronto Central Office in July of 2007 and moved up to the Richmond Hill office in 2016. One of the main reasons Lorne joined IG rather than a competitor was the holistic financial planning that IG provides to their clients. In 2008, Lorne took on an additional role at IG Wealth when he became a division director. His role as director is to train and mentor new consultants coming into the business. As a consultant at IG, Lorne has grown his practice working with many different types of individual clients as well as companies. One of the things he likes most is that every client's financial situation is different, and he must utilize his skills to work with each individual or company to customize their financial planning for their specific needs. Lorne is incredible, is ranked consistently in the top 25% of all IG Wealth consultants across Canada. He was the Rookie of the Year for the Winnipeg Downtown office, 3-time Pillar Award winner and T.O. Peterson Award winner, as well as the National Builder Award winner. In Lorne's spare time, he has a wife, Sarah, and children, Hannah, who's 11, and Jake, who's 9. So I want to thank you, Lorne, for being here and sharing your details. So maybe I'll start, and then I have to go for our 3 o'clock to prepare for the panel and so on. But maybe just to get a little bit of discussion going, and for those of you that are watching, you can ask your questions in the session chat as well, and Lorne will be able to see it. So how do you train new people coming in? Like, I mean, how has that changed over the last 8-9 months now?
It's quite unique in because when I'm doing an interview and interviewing with people, I always like to meet in person with individuals. So it becomes a unique experience because face-to-face is a lot easier, I find, than virtual to virtual. You can't get the full experience and the full opportunities to really get to know somebody. So it has been very unique in that regards. IG has provided us with great resources, thankfully, using Microsoft Teams that allows me to have still the virtual conversations. We don't use Zoom due to some security issues and flaws that they've had. So we've been using the Microsoft Teams application. And it allows me to start an interview process with new consultants. And to be quite honest, even with new prospective clients, it's giving me that opportunity to still have that interaction. If this pandemic was happening 40 years ago, to try and talk to someone solely on the phone and not having a face-to-face experience could be difficult. Mm-hmm. But one thing IG has done, which I think is a huge advantage for us as a company, we have basically gone virtual for everything. So the days of actually having to sign paper, sign and do, I guess we'll call it homework, that when I'm working or researching or studying for something, everything's been provided to me virtually. I don't know if and when this pandemic is going to be over, will I even go back to the office? I don't need the office anymore. I could be anywhere in Ontario and still working and doing what I love to do, and that's planning, working, and mentoring with the new consultants that are coming into the business. So it creates an opportunity. But with our training platforms, we've gone virtually online, and the benefit being is that interaction can be both ways. So it's not like I send somebody off on their way saying, here's your homework, finish it and do it. It's a collaborative effort between the two of us to make sure things are going in the right direction. You're following along in the process, from the interview process right through to the offer stage, as well as to following along and dealing with the training programs and then launching your career here at IG Wealth.
Fair enough. So in terms of, obviously, the story of 2020 is the year, but how do you, with your clients, like how have you been developing excellent service? That's always one of the challenges, right, with financial advisors. How do you provide excellent service to your clients during these times? You talked earlier about, not being able to see people.
Yep.
So the delivery method has changed too, right?
The delivery method has changed significantly, and my wife has told me, because my wife has worked at home for her career for the last number of years, but she said, I've never seen you more efficient than I've ever seen you right now. And because we've gone to that online opportunity and model for everything we possibly do, I'm not having that travel time that I once did. I would drive from my office when I was down at the Young and Shepherd office up to Newmarket. And you try fighting 404 northbound at 6 o'clock in the evening to get to a 7 o'clock meeting. It's going to take you a while. So I've been allowed to move my practice virtually, which now my preparation and time, I have more time to prepare. I have more opportunity to prepare for client meetings, and I'm able to deliver and share my screens, and the interactions that I have with the individuals allows me to facilitate a proper client meeting and presentations. But what has IG done for us that has allowed us still to engage our clients in activities? I've always been a 1+1 marketing individual. And what that means is I would host an event, or IG would host an event, and I would invite one of my clients and tell them to bring a guest. It would allow me to build that opportunity to meet new individuals, as well as to thank my existing clients for working with me. IG has now taken that virtually as well. So some of the different things and different events that IG has hosted in the last few weeks and months, we had Martin Luther King Jr. on to speak to our clients and guests. We have live wine tastings. We had food tastings, beer tastings. Last week we did a Sleeman's tour of the Sleeman facility hosted by the Sleeman family. So it allows us to still engage our existing clients and asking them to invite somebody they would like to do this event with. Yes, it will be separate. Yes, it will be virtually, but at least they're still able to have some interaction with myself, with their prospects, with my prospects, I should say, and their friends.
That's fair. Yeah, that's good.
People say, and people ask, well, the markets have been on a wild ride. How has your practice fared in an environment that we've been in? I can say this, truthfully, I've never been busier. And busy in a good way. I take the opportunity, and as Mark, you said in my opening little monologue there about me, holistic financial planning is truly the most important thing we can possibly do for our clients, prospective clients here at IG or at whatever institution these individuals that are on this call are working for. The thing being is to be able to provide that full holistic financial planning, showing people where they're going today and moving forward into the future, looking at short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals, and following the plan. I guarantee you, someone's going to veer off course. The pandemic has changed some people's finances from unfortunate deaths in the family. I've had a few clients pass away from COVID. It's changed financially in regards to loss of jobs. But how can they adapt, and how we can look with them and work with them in regards to their financial plan, taking them from where they are today and still anticipating how things are changing and how things are growing. So the uniqueness and the opportunity that we have in a very volatile market, more people need help. And if you look at what FP Canada, or any of the major regulatory organizations have released, not many Canadians, unfortunately, have a proper written financial plan. And I'll give you an example. I had a call last week with somebody, a brand new prospect, was a referral from another client. And we started talking. I gave her a brief snippet about IG. And then I asked her, have you ever seen a written financial plan? Her comment to me, yes, I've seen a written financial plan from my consultant. I get it every quarter in the mail. I said, you get a written financial plan every quarter in the mail? Yeah, you know, that statement that tells me my investments.
Right.
I said, really? I said, so does that tell you when you're going to be able to buy your first home? As she was just, is it going to be able to tell you if you're properly insured? No. How do you know you're going to have enough money moving forward to cover unexpected expenses? I don't. The unfortunate problem and the unfortunate, there are institutions out there that don't provide the proper holistic financial planning, and clients think with what they're getting is the best and the utmost stuff. However, that's not always the case. And more times than not, it's not the true case. So what are you and what are individuals looking at? If you're looking at your practice today, how are you designing, developing, and building a facilitation for your clients to understand where they're going, what they're doing, and how they're going to get there? Mm-hmm. Many companies use what's called NaviPlan, which is a great software program that allows us to show and model for clients. IG has gone away from NaviPlan and have implemented a whole new plan called Concourse. It's far more, it allows me as a financial planner to work with my clients, their access to viewing it all online, as well as interacting and interpreting it and dealing with me, and they're able to input and adjust. So how is your company looking at relating and adjusting to a world where right now there is no face-to-face?
Yeah.
I look at that and I say, okay, what do we need to do? Where do we need to go? And how do we need to change? And why I think this session is very timely is, the scary part is it's almost 2021. How many people have started to look and plan for next year already? I've already been doing that for a month. I know a lot of consultants out there that when they start their practice or looking at their practice, they're waiting and not developing anything till maybe the beginning of January and trying to implement that moving forward throughout, we'll say, 2021. I think one of the biggest problems, a lot of people, you plan for your clients, but are you planning truly for yourself? So I've worked with my team. I have about 13 consultants that I work with on my team, that we've already started planning close to a month ago of how we want to implement and the direction forward that everybody wants to move with their practice in 2021. Because if you wait till January, by the time you implement things, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. So what are you going to be doing to grow your practice, to implement your practice? And it all starts with your business plan. I can tell you, Mark, some people haven't looked at a business plan in 6 to 10 years. Mm. And how many businesses will survive if they're not actually looking at a business plan every quarter? Because if you want to stay ahead, the unfortunate part of our industry is there are many investment advisors, stockbrokers, financial planners. You can walk down the street and see hundreds of them. The benefit, there are opportunities to meet, mingle, and work with people and chat with people to learn about what they're doing, how they're building their practices. I've never been shy to talk with other people from other companies to hear what they're doing. Because if we're able to grow together, then we're able to develop and build with our own companies, but learning and strategizing separately. Do we have any questions yet, or nothing yet?
Nothing yet. I'm going to introduce Alex here pretty soon, but I think what would be good, and yeah, for anybody who wants to ask a question, you can certainly just post them in the chat button. But I will introduce Alex from our office soon, who's going to take it over. But I think maybe over the next, you have about 10, 12 minutes left, Lorne. Maybe you can just maybe talk about kind of the future. You talked about budgeting and planning for 2021. What are the biggest challenges? What do you foresee? And there's a lot of people here at this event who are independent financial advisors. So maybe, where they don't have like a marketing or team or whatever, maybe some suggestions on how to grow your practice as well during that. So maybe you can spend some time talking about that. And I wanted to introduce Alex on our team, who's going to take it from here. And at 3:00 Eastern time, I'm going to be on the live stage and with the panel. So make sure to not miss that as soon as Lorne's presentation is finished here. So make sure to put them in. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Lorne, for doing this as well.
Thanks, Mark.
And we'll talk
soon. Hi, Alex. How are you?
I'm good, Lorne. How are you?
Not bad at all. So I was just saying in before Mark had to drop off there that a large part of what we should be doing as a financial planner right now is developing our business plans moving forward. The world is changing by the day, by the minute, by the second. Are we adapting to those changes? Is your company that you're working for allowing you to adapt? And I can look at Toronto Jobs. They were heavily as a recruiting agency. Now you're doing these kind of seminars, the law seminar, or real estate. What is your organization that you're working for actually bringing to the table to allow you to design and implement and allow you to grow your practice? Because if you're not having those resources or those abilities passed down to you, there's no chance of growing. We look at the environment we're in, and it's scary because we don't know if walking down the street and we bump into somebody, if they're sick, are we going to get sick? We don't know what the stock markets will do today, tomorrow, next week, next year, 3 years, and 5 years. But what we do know is how to create a written financial plan showing clients where they're going, how they're going to get there, and what they need to do to be able to grow their wealth in a tax efficient manner. And if I look at my practice, my oldest client is probably 102, and my youngest client is now 6 months old. Yes, her parents opened an account for her, and I'm not really dealing with her as of yet, but one day down the road. How many people have actually sat down and looked at their practice and looked at how many generations they have as clients? So when I'm designing and working on my business plan, which I started about a month ago, I look at my clients and I look 2 levels up and 2 levels down. What do I mean by that? Do I have, we'll say, the typical 40, 50-year-old husband and wife clients? Great. Do I have their parents as clients? If I go down the other way, do I have their children or grandchildren as clients? I start every year looking at where are the opportunities. How am I going to build the opportunities to be able to get in front of and interact with these individuals? So you try and look at your practice from a holistic approach and then sort of grow and dig into how we're going to extrapolate that information and build it to grow my practice or your practice. But not everybody has computers in today's day and age, right? Some of my seniors at 102, she can barely hear and barely see me.
Mm-hmm.
So am I going to be doing a presentation on Microsoft Teams? Probably not. But because she's struggling to hear and struggling to talk, I've made it a point that her son and daughter are both powers of attorneys. They're not clients of mine. But by having the powers of attorneys in the meetings with my client, it's allowing me now to get an interaction and face-to-face virtually with the brothers, sisters, and the mother, because they can relay everything if my client can't hear. So it's how we're looking at it, what we're doing, what systems. We have different events, as I said. Am I inviting the powers of attorney to the events, even though they're not clients? Of course. Am I dropping little messages about how I might be able to help with their financial planning needs? Of course. So it's a unique process and a follow-through process that I try and use to help systematize in growing my practice. Questions for me so far, Alex? Anything?
I did have a question here. I do have a few questions here, but we only have about 2 minutes left, so I'm just going to try and make this a little bit short. And apologies if you already covered this with Mark. What are some things that IG Wealth can help financial advisors with? I guess, like how can you help people now? I guess
in this kind of environment is the unique opportunity where we're able to get, as long as somebody has an internet access. We can virtually meet online. I can do my fact finding and gathering of information. It allows me the resources and the tools to be able to provide everything virtually. Everything we do is done via DocuSign for any documents that needs to be sent or signed, or anything we need to send via email. They are encrypted so that it cannot be accessed by a third party or somebody that doesn't have the passwords to get online and deal with. So I would say this, it's never been easier to work in the environment that we're in than we've ever been before, because time management's easier, the resources are a heck of a lot easier. And if you saw my handwriting, nobody can read it. So my admin and my assistants are beyond happy that I can put everything now on a computer rather than having to handwrite and deal with all client applications.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting how some industries, have really improved in some areas because of what's going on. Because of things, as you said, time management, obviously, it's much faster to send something through email instead of having to print it off and bring it to the person in person, things like that. It's definitely.
I will say this, before the pandemic, and IG was, I'll call it a dinosaur when it came to its infrastructure and growth, right? However, over the last couple of years, we've put in a new CEO and we've migrated our platforms. We've migrated our funds. We're no longer the IG company that only sells IG products. We're now a full holistic planning approach that can carry third-party funds, ETFs, and different opportunities. So they've given us the resources that we need and the ability that we need to grow our practices here at IG.
That's great. Okay, so it looks like we're just out of time here. So I wanted to thank you for speaking today. What are the ways that people can contact you if they want to get in touch?
Feel free to email me at Lorne, L-O-R-N-E.
I'll just put it in the chat.
Yeah, well, I can type it in the chat too.
Oh, perfect.
Not an issue. I'd be more than willing to chat, or they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's Lorne Yuffe, and I think I'm the only Lorne Yuffe on LinkedIn. So feel free to add me and be more than willing to answer any questions or help or give ideas to anyone that's looking for some help.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you again for speaking today, Lorne. And just for anyone watching, the panel is about to start in about 3 minutes. So go ahead and head over to the main stage. And thank you again for speaking. It was a great presentation.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.